this is the SteppingStones interview with Seth Davidson. Seth, describe to me your life before brain injury. What did you do for a job?
I was a carpenter. I owned my own business. I had a couple employees. I did things like roofing, siding, sheetrocking.
Oh, that's been nice. You can take the winter off. Work summer and possibly spring and fall and take the winter off.
Right. Being your own business owner, it definitely has its advantages, but definitely has its disadvantages.
Yes, I've seen some of those disadvantages secondhand because my father owned his own business. And what about your social life? Did you do anything outside of work, like hobbies, special interests?
Yep, I've always been involved in musical aspect, being a musician, big time into skiing, mountain biking, rollerblading.
Fun. Sounds like you had a huge social life back then.
I was more of an adrenaline junkie than a big social butterfly. I didn't have a ton of friends, but what few friends I did have were close friends and into the same things I was.
That's always good. You always want friends that are in the same thing as you are.
Definitely.
All right, and what about family life? Are you close to your family?
Very close to my family. My mom had 10 brothers and sisters, and I grew up with the big family attitude, everybody always getting together all the time. Not just Christmas and Easter, but any excuse to get together and have a party.
Huge family then.
Yep, big family.
So you got yearly family reunions?
I'm sorry?
You get family reunions every year?
Not family reunions, but every certain holidays we all get together, or graduations, or whatever family milestone there is.
Sounds good. Sounds like you're very close to your family.
Yes.
And out of those 10 children, how many are brothers, how many are sisters?
Good question. I can't remember off the top of my head.
That's fine. That's perfectly fine. And emotionally, how were you before your injury compared to after your injury? I know you said you're an adrenaline junkie, so...
Right. I was pretty numb beforehand.
All right.
I went through life doing what I had to do because that's what I thought I had to do.
Yep.
Learning that I'm a whole lot more emotional after the whole ordeal.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I'm still trying to figure that out.
All right, and tell us a little about your injury. Like, how long ago was it, and what happened to you?
It was the day after Christmas of last year, 2004. We were going up the day after Christmas to my girlfriend at the time's camp to play with our toys that we got for Christmas. She was about an hour ahead of me. Excuse me.
Certainly.
She took the little dog, and I took the big dog. I was about an hour behind her. I dropped off my clothes and the dog, and she said she was hungry, and I took off to McDonald's to get a couple salads, and I slept on some ice, went into oncoming traffic, head-on into a couple cars. I don't remember anything. That's what the police report says. And that's pretty much what happened. A few skull fractures, hundreds of stitches.
And a year later, you're here.
And, 6, 7 months. Yeah.
And what was the extent of your rehabilitation? How did you have to have, 6 months worth of physical therapy, occupational therapy?
Unfortunately, I was an uninsured motorist. I had insurance for my business. I had insurance for my vehicle. But I didn't have insurance to cover myself. No medical insurance. Nothing. So they basically stabilized me. It took 3 days. And they sent me on my way. They had no idea I had a brain injury, and neither did I until months later. It was difficult to feel the feelings of massive confusion, loneliness. I just wanted to be isolated. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't know that I had a brain injury until months later. Somebody got me into... or I qualified for funding through Wentworth Douglas Hospital to start getting some rehab that I needed. I had a bunch of undiagnosed injuries, one of them being my shoulder that was still really bothering me, so I wanted something done with it because I was sick of doing nothing with it. So I got the funding for Wentworth Douglas Hospital. They started me out with 3 appointments twice a week, and they figured out that I did in fact have a brain injury, and started, working on that.
Sounds like money was a big issue back then.
It's a huge issue. I was average. I'm not totally successful, but on my way to being very successful. The job I was working on when I got in the accident was a potentially career-making job. I could have made a career out of just that one company that I was going to work for.
So that set you back a ways then. How are you doing so far?
So far, so good. I'm still a little confused, and I'm still trying to figure out exactly the extent of my injuries and ways to deal with them.
Going with Douglas has helped you out a lot?
Absolutely.
All right.
Yep.
It's a good hospital.
Very good hospital.
Yes. All right. And how has your injury affected your family life? You still very close to your family?
Yeah, I am still very close with my family. For some reason, I'm not, all of a sudden, I'm not as good in front of people or around big groups of people anymore, so it is difficult to even be with family, but some family members I didn't even remember right away, and I went to a couple family functions and saw these people that I wasn't exactly sure who they were, and eventually it did come back, and that's a good feeling, and just to have family that cares is an amazingly good feeling.
That people with brain injury, that's a necessity right there. Mm-hmm. Family that cares. And unfortunately, not a lot of family does care, because there are some members that the family doesn't care.
Right.
And I know when I had my injury, after my surgeries, I couldn't remember some of my family. So you're not alone there. A lot of us are like that. And social life, how does that differ from post your brain injury?
I haven't skied, biked, rollerblade. I haven't done anything that I have done, including work, since my injury. So my life is totally different. I have high hopes of getting back to all of those things. Not in the same way, but still being able to do those things.
You picked up new social interests, maybe?
I don't have any new interests. I'm just desperately trying to hang on to the ones that I did have in the past.
Sounds good. Sounds like you are well on your way to hopefully getting back to that point.
I think so.
Probably this time next year, maybe. I know this Friday will be 2 years for me. And I'm getting back to that point.
That's awesome.
I'm just starting to get back. So hopefully 2 years you can get back to your activities like mountain biking and skiing. I know it was about a year and a half when I went off that I wasn't able to be on my mountain bike. Mm-hmm. And I just started getting back on it. And I tell you, there's nothing I enjoy more than being on my bike.
That's awesome. It is when somebody gets involved with something that they really like mountain biking. It's a big part of their life.
Oh, yeah. That's just time where I can be on my own.
Right.
Not have a care in the world, besides not ruining my physical state.
Right.
And it really helps me because I injured my back at work, and it really helps work on my back. So hopefully you can get back on your bike, and we can go mountain biking together sometime.
Yeah, let's do it.
Definitely. And what about your beliefs? Do you want to go to church?
I don't go to church. I grew up Catholic and was forced to go to church, all through being a kid. When I got old enough to make up my own mind, I decided not to go to church. I do very much believe in God. And this whole ordeal has just reaffirmed my beliefs. I believe even more, even stronger now than ever before, but I still haven't gone to church.
Yeah, I think a lot of members, even if they didn't believe before they had their injury, they start believing because a lot of members feel that we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for some kind of God.
Absolutely.
All right, and emotionally, how are you? Are you on the inside? Are you sad, mourning yourself still, your old self, or have you come to terms with yourself?
I'm trying very hard to come to terms with my life now versus my life before. To say that I'm angry or sad about the situation is an understatement. On a daily basis, I try to learn how to deal with myself and try to keep a positive attitude. And on most days, I do very well, but there are some days where I just hate to be alive.
That can be a struggle.
A big struggle. But it gets better every day.
Exactly. You got to look forward to every day and take it one day at a time.
Right.
All right. The biggest thing that has changed in your life since your injury, what would you say that is?
Probably the inability to do all the things that I've enjoyed and have done before. It's drastically changed my life. I literally lost everything except for family.
Sorry to hear that, but at least you can build back up to what you were, and hopefully better.
Right.
All right. And how's your communication? Do you have issues interacting with others, or just tell me a little bit about it?
Yes. Still, I have a hard time in crowds. I have a hard time in front of people. Just being around people, whether it's grocery shopping or stuff like that. I can't go to the mall and stuff like that. It just freaks me out. I'm sorry, what was the question?
Social challenges, like interacting with people, speech maybe. Do you have any speech issues, any cognitive issues?
Yep. Speech was huge for the first month after my accident. I could barely speak. It was one word answers, that's it. People would ask me questions and I could just give them yes or no answers, basically. It took me easily a whole month to link words together to start making sentences, and another whole month after that before I could link enough words together to actually make sentences. So it took me almost 2 months just to communicate with people, which was very frustrating.
What's something you've come a long ways?
Absolutely. Yep.
And so this is a big achievement for you to be here.
It's just to be alive. You know, it is a huge, huge deal for me. Yeah. There's no doubt in my mind that I was blessed.
And doing something like this interview, this has to be huge for you.
It is huge.
Because I'm sure when you were just saying one-word sentences, you would never thought that you would be doing something like this.
No. Never imagined.
All right, and what steps are you trying to take to help you get back to doing some of the stuff you enjoy, and just getting back to like mountain biking or skiing and stuff like that? Are you doing a lot of exercising, going to the gym, maybe still some physical therapy?
Yeah, I still go to physical therapy twice a week, 3 times each day. My shoulder just started feeling better, and I got the okay to start weight training. I lost a lot of weight and want to get it back.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not used to being this thin, so it almost pains me to look at myself in the mirror. But really lightweight. I'm working out with I think it's 12 or 15 pounds, and which is double the weight I was a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
So I'm constantly making improvements and picking up the weights, and I exercise every day. Not for very long. I'm good for about a half an hour or an hour or something like that. I'm still going through fatigue. I do something for a couple hours and I'm incredibly tired, and sometimes I need a nap after a ridiculously small amount of activity.
Sounds good. Sounds like you're well on your way to getting back to doing the stuff you enjoy.
I'm trying the best I can.
And you look good. Despite how you looked like before, you look good now.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. I know personally, before my injury, I was a twig. Mm-hmm. I was so skinny you could see my rib cage. And now I can't stop eating. So I've put on a lot of weight since my surgeries. And any, like, barriers that you would say, maybe social, environmental, just barriers that are stopping you from getting to where you want to be?
I don't really know how to describe the barriers. There's a waking up process that you do when you have a head injury, and or whatever you call it. I call it a waking up process because that's what it feels like. And I don't see it daily or weekly. You know, it's more like monthly. You know, I notice I wake up a little bit more, and I hear a little bit better. I see color a little bit better. My speech gets better. Excuse me.
Certainly.
I have this tick that snaps my neck so fast, so hard, that it hurts my neck. And it seems to be getting better and better. And it's things like that I notice that keep me going.
Yeah. Well, we're getting towards the end of the interview. Do you have any words of wisdom for people listening to this? Like, things you want them to take away from this?
I don't know.
All right. Well, that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Shane.
I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
All right, Seth. How has Stepping Stones influenced your life, and how has it helped you? If you could just explain how the groups have helped you, what groups you like, what groups have helped you in your recovery process.
SteppingStones has been huge as far as my personal rehabilitation. Just to come to a place where people understand, you know, people in the same situation understand where you're coming from. As supportive as my family is, they really don't know what's going on with me. They ask me questions to try to find out, and I can't explain it to them. I can't tell them exactly what's going on in my head because I don't know. SteppingStones has been instrumental in my recovery because they know, and the people know, that are here for the same reason. To be able to talk to people with the same problems, to be able to talk to people with going through the same things, and express anger and sorrow and all those emotions that go along with the whole recovery process. There's absolutely nobody that can tell you or help you like a person can with a brain injury, you know, due to whatever it is. But for someone to go through the same thing, they know because they've lived it. You know, the people that haven't gone through it can read about it, can learn by experience from being around those people, but you really don't know unless you've been through it.
Yeah.
And when I called up SteppingStones to see if I could come in here, that's what I wanted. That's all I wanted, was just to talk to people in a similar situation. Just sharing the pain with other people takes away my pain. And that's been the biggest part of my recovery with SteppingStones, is just being able to, excuse me,
Certainly.
be in a situation.
All right, and how did you find out about SteppingStones? Who told you about it?
My therapist mentioned that she read a flyer or a leaflet or something and asked me if I would be interested in communicating with people in my same situation, and I immediately, you know, said yes. I had been looking for something like that for a long time. Unfortunately, most of my friends that have been in the same situation are no longer with us because they died from it, or it affected them in such a way that they're not able to talk about it. So to be in a place where people can talk to me about it, let me know, it's not that bad, or it takes a little bit more time, don't be so frustrated. It really helps me, because the therapist could tell me anything that they wanted, but knowing that they didn't go through the same thing that I am going through, or it's easy for them to say because they're not in the same situation. Things like that really bothered me. To meet people and to see that there is light at the end of the tunnel, that people do become okay. They do go on with the rest of their lives. They do have some normalcy. Was very, very important for me to learn, because I felt as though that I was the only one in my situation, and that's about it.
All right. Sounds like you got a lot of help here.
I really did. I'm very, very thankful for this foundation.
All right. Thank you.